I have here the notes, and I also have here the 11th episode, chapter 22, season 3. This is the observation of tech and beyond. I don't use AI. So for this 20-second intro, those of you still listening, do you use AI? That's my main question. What I've come to learn is very simple in this world. The closer you can get to not using technology, the more in tune you are with yourself. I've done everything from step out of social media for a year to starting my life over. And when I decided to pick things up again, I noticed it was a lot easier to be doing it without technology, even though I braced myself and knew that there would be technology in my life. Before I bought this phone, I wanted a flip phone. The reason in that was who I am at my core is not relevant to this phone. And I've always known that. I grew up watching the internet, witnessing YouTube rise, witnessing computer labs be born, banking on my phone, all that. When it came to starting over without the internet, one thing I kept in mind was exactly that. That the phone, the internet, is in itself a tool. And I know how to use the tool. I now remember that the tool is meant to support my greater good, even though it's not my greater good. So my disconnection from the internet was more of a recalibration as to why it was here. I exist in a time where the internet exists. I exist in a time where a phone has access to the internet and is a computer in the palm of my hands. And I've done a lot of things with a phone. And so forgiving myself for all of it has allowed me to generate a new beginning with technology. I have here on my notes that giving yourself forgiveness. So this is a segue part 2. In that this new horizon is giving myself the same energy that I've given to other people. And so because I took a step back and I let myself start again, I really got in tune with what it meant to be myself, what it meant to be around others, what it meant to put my face on the internet. So where's the value and what is the purpose? The value and the purpose that you have here on the internet is the same value and purpose that you have with yourself. If the internet is to be high value, therefore high purpose, then you are also to be high value and high purpose. That was something for years I strived to understand. I remember sitting in college realizing that the low purpose life I was living was because I had a low sense of self-value. And I accepted that. And that was a choice I made. And now this person speaking to you is also grateful that that person existed. not because he was a means to an end, but because he found his own end, like I did mine. You see, the person here in the now understands that there's no need for the suffering, that the illusion of choice is that someone has to go through something to learn. And that's why it's starting again, and that's why it's this version of who I am, where, based off of what I've witnessed on the internet, I don't have to do certain things, therefore don't have to experience those things, therefore now have high value, higher purpose. Because the results that I'm receiving at the moment are a reflection of giving myself that version of love that I learned by watching, not necessarily by experiencing. Burnout is something that a lot of people contribute to this whole internet thing. And that's a choice. In the same way that I focus my energy on being creative and allowing myself to be healthy, is also in the same choice that I have a healthy relationship with the internet and what I create. Because this feeling that I have now is one that cannot be bought, but is also one that is of high value and high purpose. And the simple way for someone to become high value and high purpose is to simply focus on your health. Is to do everything you can to accept what is true, but to also question what you know to be true. There is a version of truth for everybody. And what I knew to be true before is today not true at all. But that's okay, because what I know to be true today, I didn't know at all before starting again. I started again because I learned something new. And that's really the moral of this story, is that the easier it is for you to get out of your own way, the easier it is for you to have high value, and the easier it is for you to have high purpose. And this is part of the tool belt that I've had to adapt over the years, that I've had to negotiate to be mine. The roundabout way of looking at this episode here is there's something you're going to do in your life that is high purpose, that is high value, that is not only something positive you're doing for yourself, but has a greater impact to the collective. When I understood that I had access to this, it was because I was curious about it. And ever since I gave myself another chance, this has been the most memorable time of my life. So, from me to you, learn more. Go into the unknown. Because that's the exact place where you're going to find everything you're meant to ever be. It's as simple as that. I spent a lot of time, a lot of my life, doing things, thinking that I was learning. But you don't have to do anything to learn. What you do when you learn is you remember. That's really called learning. So no, you don't have to embarrass yourself or anybody else. You don't ever have to think that you're lost or think or feel negativity at all. Those are all choices. So learn. Ask questions. But most of all, be something. Be something great. Take care. All the best.